Saint Robotics, and we are back with another episode. So this is podcast episode number 16, and today we have an FTC team that we're going to be interviewing. So I am Lakshita Malpaka, your host, and
I am here, Jane, your co-host.
so let's get started. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
My name is Henry, and I'm the captain of FTC Team 6220.
My name is Guinness, and I am the project manager of 6220 Drift.
Hi, I am Ollie. I'm the notebook lead.
Nice. So to get us started, can you guys tell us what FTC is? Like, what does it stand for? What do they do?
So FTC stands for First Tech Challenge. It's part of the First Robotics organization, and every season you build a robot for a robot game. That robot is 18 inches by 18 inches by 18 inches, so smaller than an FRC robot, but not as small as the Lego Robotics for the younger kids. Yeah, it's through First Robotics, and yeah. Guinness, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, basically you play on a field that's again smaller than the FRC field and larger than the FLL field, and you have two teams competing against each other to get the most number of points. Yeah, you pretty much summed it up well, Henry.
That sounds really fun. Well, could you guys describe your experience of how it goes? Like, what are some things that you really like about it?
Okay. So basically, this is my second year, and so I'm learning a lot. So that's probably one of my biggest takeaways from FTC is that I've just learned so much. Not only how to build a robot, but how to manage and oversee the creation and of a product. And I guess learning how to work in a group setting. Yeah. Ollie or Henry, do you have anything to add?
Well, one of my favorite things about the program is definitely the ability to just work on the robot with the other people on our team, and then also working on the coding. It's just fun to be able to try different things on the team. Since it's a little bit of a smaller robot, you don't need to put necessarily as much time into it. Not that we don't spend a lot of time working on it, but you still get to try many different things on the robot.
So you guys,
Yeah, for me, this year is my first year in robotics at all, and it was just an incredibly rewarding experience to work on the robot and see it not work, and work on it just more and more and more, and iterate until it did stuff, and that was just so really very cool to me.
yeah, definitely. You guys mentioned a lot of really cool things. So what is you guys' favorite memory participating in FTC and joining robotics?
Okay, that's a tough question, but yeah, I think like I have to say the moment when like we scored our highest, which was like 152 points this season, that was like one of my favorite times because we were just kind of proud of the fact that we made something and it for the most part worked. And I don't know, it was kind of a bizarre experience at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite points this season was when the first run where Autonomous actually did everything it was supposed to do correctly. That was super exciting because I'd been working on it for hours and it just would fail at different points along the run, and then we finally got a perfect run. I was super excited.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think you guys already answered this, but how many years have you guys been in robotics for?
So this is my second year in FTC and my second year in any organized robotics. Before then, I just did some side projects of my own, but 2 years in robotics for me.
That's really nice.
Yeah, this is my fourth or fifth year in first. Yeah, I don't know how to count. And this is my second year in FTC, and I spent 2 years prior, or three, I don't know again, in FLL. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yep, this is my first year in any robotics.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, what do you guys feel like is your favorite part of FTC? So, there's a lot of different parts. What's your favorite thing to do?
Yeah, I have to say, like, probably one of my favorite parts is uh working as a team together to try and accomplish a singular goal. To me, that's kind of something you won't find in other places. I guess at this age, I'm assuming when you're older and actually have a job, you probably want to work in teams with other people, because that's how the world works. But for me, this is like one of the most important parts of it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Guinness. I like when we all there's 8 students on our team, so when all 8 of us gather around, figure out a solution to our problem, and then go build or code or do whatever we need to do to get it done, and then to see it working. Um, that's one of my favorite parts of robotics.
The satisfaction is definitely really nice
Yeah.
after like spending hours and hours working on something. That's for sure. That's nice.
I think my favorite part of robotics would be when you just like sit down at a table and you have all the tools and the pieces and you're like, I have an idea for how this is gonna work, and you just try like a bunch of different ways of getting the thing to work.
Yeah, definitely. That's the really
Mhm.
cool part of robotics, where you don't just get to like code something or like build something, but you get to see it working on a field, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Since COVID hit like around March last year, do you think what do you think the differences were in your team? Like what do you think really impacted, and like what were some things that you like were probably challenging for you guys in this time?
Well, I think the biggest challenge it created was we didn't have time to train the new teammates. So 3 of the 8 students on our team are returning, and the other 5 are rookies. So generally during the
Mm.
summer, we would get to train them on all the tools and kind of just the general development process. But since we couldn't meet in the summer in person, we didn't have the opportunity to do that until we actually got into the shop. So there was just some hiccups that wouldn't have come about if it weren't for uh, not having to train them that day.
Yeah.
And besides, like the online meetings, of course, that was for everyone. But for our team specifically, that was probably the biggest hurdle COVID caused.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. So, like, what would like a basic team meeting look like before COVID hit? So, like, how did you guys engage? What would you guys be doing normally?
Yeah, so basically normally we would participate in like numerous outreach events, because like as part of Swerve, we're given like a lot of opportunities to reach out to the community, which I think is just great. And we normally we normally meet in the shop 3 times a week, um and rarely have online meetings. And as as COVID came around, uh, it was like meeting in the shop was the rare thing, and online meetings was what we normally do. Um, so yeah, normally we'd meet in the shop more often and do more outreach events. But yeah, yeah, strange change.
What another thing was like you guys have been a team, like I know some people have been here for a long time, some people have been here for a shorter amount of time. Um how long has your team been competing in for FTC? Like how many years
Yeah,
has it been since your team has
it's
established?
we've been competing in FTC for 9+ years. So actually, funny thing, our one of our mentors was actually a student on the team, and she's now working at Microsoft and mentoring
That's
our
really
team.
nice.
Yeah,
That's really
so it's kind of like a sustainability type thing where people come and go, but they never really leave. Um, the team's still here. So yeah.
You guys mentioned some outreach events. What are some of the coolest outreach events that you guys feel like you've done? I know outreach events can be really cool and impactful in some ways. So yeah.
One of my favorite outreach events was going to Seafair. We were there, and we brought like these. We have miniature outreach robots that we let kids drive around. So we bring those to events and stuff. But it was honestly such a great experience because like I have never gone to Seafair before that time because I never had the chance to. Um, and this was kind of like a different.
That's really nice.
One of my favorite outreach events I've gone to is BrickCon. We help out there almost every year as a club. And we just kind of set out Legos for the kids to build. And then we have some Lego League students in our part of our sort of robotics club, and they'll bring their robot there to show off to any prospective roboticists.
I love the word roboticist. It's a really nice word. Oh yeah, this year, you know how since competitions were all online and mostly there was no like in-person competitions, what do you guys feel about that? Do you think they were nice? Do you think they were like harder to like engage in? Like what were your opinions on the competitions this year?
Yeah, so I think like we as a team pretty we adapted to it pretty well, mainly because many of us hadn't actually seen a real competition, like a regular competition. So this was basically their normal. So it's
Mm,
just the normal process of learning. But for me, I thought that it was it had its pros and cons. Like obviously it's really nice to work without the stress, so like we could actually have time in between our matches to iterate our design and figure out, oh wow, our robot doesn't work, I wonder why, so let's go fix it. But normally at a competition we don't have that luxury. But another thing that made it hard was like judging and the like getting to interact with other teams. Like that was extremely stunted. And basically our only interaction was from the virtual pits stuff. So
let's hope that we can go back and we can have the fun that we had during competitions because I mean it's a lot of engagement, right? And I hopefully you guys can have that before.
Yeah.
yeah.
Relate.
Yep, fingers crossed.
All right. So, what is one of the things that you guys felt like on your team that you guys wouldn't be able to do before COVID? So I know COVID's been really impactful negatively, but like, what is something positive that came out of COVID for your team?
One of the biggest things was definitely our greater use of software. So last year, we didn't really use CAD that much. We had some just outdated models of our robot, but this year, not being able to just try a bunch of stuff in the shop and see what worked, we actually had to CAD everything, which that was a pretty big learning curve because no one on our team knew CAD. But we all took some courses and wound up actually being relatively competent. um, and then for programming, we used greater use of the branching system in GitHub, which we'd never used before. We just kept pushing to main, which is not very good practice, we found out. But yeah, so just it kind of made us use more of our options that we had, but just weren't really using.
Got it. Do you think you had a good experience with CAD since you got to learn it like online, which was definitely not as easy, even if it's like an application?
Yeah, I thought it was like I guess it didn't really vary too much. Because normally what would happen is we're in the shop being taught it versus we took an online course provided by Autodesk. This this year. So I mean, kind of yes and no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Holly, I know that you mentioned that you're a new member. What was your experience like on the team as a new member, especially during COVID?
Um, it was definitely like exciting. Like I went to the interview, everyone was standing in like a great big circle, like 6 feet apart. Um, it was like we went to the shop in the beginning, but only like once a week, if that. I remember one week my temperature was high, and like I wasn't feeling sick, but they were like, "We're just gonna be cautious." And so I
Mm.
went home, and they just like set up a laptop, and I watched the meeting from at home, and everyone's just like standing like super far apart, showing like their janky prototypes. I feel like my experience as a rookie, I definitely like there was a switch that flipped before League One, but not that much before League One, where I was like, okay, I get it. This is what you have to do to be successful in what you're doing. Um, which was really nice. I'm definitely looking forward to next year, hopefully being in person,
Yeah.
because I haven't really experienced that, and it sounds awfully exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
I forgot to mention, but what grades are you guys in? By the way, I don't think I asked this.
Yeah. I'm in. Shoot. I'm in ninth grade. Yeah, I know how to count.
I'm in 10th grade this year.
I'm also in ninth grade.
Yeah, me here and I are both in 10th grade, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice. Hopefully, we can have good in-person meetings before we graduate, even if it's like a couple years ago. In like a couple years.
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
So, how were you guys' experience with interacting with other teams? I know that you guys mentioned that you guys were in Swerve Robotics Club, and I might be wrong about this, but my understanding is that like you guys also interact with like FRC teams and FLL teams. So, how's your experience interacting with that, especially during COVID and even without?
Um.
S-
Yeah. Go ahead, Henry.
So in our club, I do not believe we have any FRC teams, but we have multiple FLL teams, First Lego League teams, and we don't really interact with them in general. Maybe they'll come into the shop every once in a while just to see kind of what robotics may look like in the future for them. But the main people we interact with are going to be the two other FTC teams in our club, and that would be Team 8923 and Team 417. So we all work out of the same workshop in a normal year, but for most of this year, we had to alternate between days just due to the amount of people that could fit in the space we had. So that was definitely lacking because there's a lot of wisdom on two other teams that we didn't really have as much of an opportunity to use this year.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool.
I understand. I think it's harder. Like even for our team, at least, it was harder to like collaborate with other teams or even just in our club because like everyone's in meetings together and it's like that personal like connection isn't there.
Yeah.
So I understand how hard it is. Yes,
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you that. Oh yeah, in your team, like, do you guys have different kind of sub teams, or like how's your team put together?
Wait.
Um,
Sub
so
team.
I think that's like software team, hardware team type thing,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like software team, business, those
Okay.
those types of teams.
Yeah, Henry, do you want to answer this?
Okay, so this year we didn't really split up into teams because with only 3 returning members, people didn't really know either what they really like to do or were good at. So we didn't want to say, okay, you go over here, you have to do software this year, and maybe they don't like software. So we just decided this year to let everyone try everything, so they could just find out what they liked, because that's part of the fun of robotics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year, we're looking to maybe not have like specific teams, like you can only work on software, but definitely more generalized.
Yeah.
Like this group of people is going to focus majority on software, this group majority on hardware,
Mhm.
and then we'll have some people working on marketing. But with only 8 people on our team, we have to spend most of our people actually working on the robot. And then just during competition times, we focus more on the business and marketing side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a great way to put it, since
Yeah.
like you guys have a limited amount of people, so it's like everyone can choose like what they want to do, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys mentioned how you guys have like 3 returning members and then 5 new members. How do you guys find new members and then ensure that new members stay on the team?
Oh, so do you mean like how do we recruit people and like
Mhm.
Yeah.
how does our interview process work?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so so this season was a bit different, not only because of COVID, but mainly because our team was the only team with graduating members, so we were the only team with spots um on for new people. So I actually uh I recruited a few people, and others just heard from robotics from various outreach events. Um and I guess one of them moved up from one of the club's FLL teams. Um, and our interview process was this year was a bit different than normal. Normally, what happens is we've got a bunch of people, we interview them, see what their interests are, see what team they want to be on, and then the teams get to pick which team members they want. So this year, our team got the basically all of the new people. There was I misspoke. Actually, 417 had one space open, so they actually got one new rookie. But it was pretty straightforward this year because just like, oh, okay, you get all the rookies, and this team gets one person. So we mainly decided it on like, oh, hey, what teams do you want to be on?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then as
Got
far
it.
as the second part of that question, how we get people to stay, I hope it's just because we have a good environment there that facilitates learning and fun. It is fun to build robots. So yeah.
I mean, it is definitely fun. Like, at least from my experience, I also joined FRC in ninth grade, so I was a new person, and I know it was like challenging since I wasn't really sure what I was gonna do. So like it was nice to have like different options of like either staying near the robot or like on like more like workspace, as in like the business side or the imagery side. So I think it's really helpful. And that's great that you guys have like different things you can do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm, So how are your meetings occurring now? Like, are you guys meeting like a day in person, or is it like weekly online meetings? Like, how does that work for you right now?
Ollie, do
Right.
you, oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Henry.
Ollie, you can take this
Sure.
question.
Okay.
Pretty much leading up to League One through all the way up into the judging, we were meeting maybe 3 times a week in person for a couple hours. We got a lot of work done then, working that much. A lot of the year, like over the holidays. I mean, yeah, we couldn't really meet in person at all. Um, yeah. Um, Henry, I don't know what the plan is.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well, the plan moving forward, right now we're just taking a little break because so much of our work so much of our work was done in the past just few months right before competition, really just 1 month before competition, because that's when we had most of our shop time. um, People were just getting a little burned out. So we're just taking, I think, a 2 week break. And then we're going to start our summer activities, which the mentors put together for us. So they'll give us training on tools. We'll kind of do classes for new people coming into the program about programming and CAD and the design process. And we just do stuff over the summer just to kind of keep your brains active. And it's some more fun stuff in the summer. So that's our plan moving forward. We don't have the exact time for that, but we're going to meet at least once a week in person, and then probably once a week online to just talk about CAD and other various things.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds really, really, really cool. Yeah. So you guys mentioned summer activities. Do you guys also do outreaches in the summer? How do you guys find your outreaches? How do you guys engage with your outreaches?
Yeah, so basically, normally, Swerve Robotics is asked to attend to most outreach events that we end up going to, but sometimes we'll ask people. But like, okay, so were you wondering like what activities we did, or just like how do we get our outreach opportunities?
Both of them, a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, normally over the summer we participate in like science fairs and stuff. And Seafair, like I said before. And then before competition starts, that's normally around the time when BritCon happens. Um, so yeah, and I guess most times people or yeah, I guess event organizers or people in general just come and ask Swerve Robotics to participate, mainly because we're fairly well known in Woodinville, I guess. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. Especially how like you guys have connections, especially in your town as well, and how you guys put yourselves out there.
Yeah.
Well, since it's online, since like there's not a lot of connection, how do you guys keep like interacting with other like teams? Do you guys have like a Discord or something? I'm not even sure what you guys do, but do you guys interact with other teams a lot, or like is it like a lot harder in general?
Yeah. Good.
Not like a ton. So one of the other teams in our shop, 8923, does the Friday Fun Night. I don't know. I think Mihir, were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's really fun. It's more of just like a relaxed environment than like a strictly robotics environment, but it's still really fun and interesting to just see people from other teams.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was really cool, especially the fun night yesterday. I felt like it was really well organized. Yeah,
I feel like that would be such a nice bonding, like a nice team bonding
yeah.
of just games and like having some chill time with you guys. It'd be really nice.
Actually, you can join if you want to. Pretty sure you can.
I will definitely try
Yeah.
to make the next one.
So I'm gonna kind of shift this conversation a little bit. So, what are some of the cool things that you guys are doing on your robot as well? You guys mentioned how you do CAD and stuff. What are some of the cool mechanisms that you guys are using? What are some of the cool programming features that you guys are using?
Yeah, Henry, do you want to answer this?
Yeah. So this year, gotta be honest, our robot didn't have a whole lot of bells and whistles. It was relatively bare bones. But we're looking into the future, planning over the summer. We want to implement odometry, which is basically you add passive wheels to the underside of your robot that can precisely track where your robot is on the field, which can help a ton with programming and even a little with hardware, but really not. You can just modify the placement of some things. So we're looking to add that. As far as this year, yeah, we just had a launcher. So the game this year for FTC was you had to collect these orange rings and launch them into a goal. And so we just had a collector to collect the rings and a launcher to launch the rings on our robot this year. And then our programming was relatively basic, just some navigation stuff in autonomous to launch and try to hit these posts called power shots, which would give you points. And then I suppose something that we've never done before, and we used this year, and it was actually super helpful, was a macro in teleop. So while the drivers were driving the robot, they could press a button, and the robot would take control of itself like autonomous just for a few seconds to perform a task. And this year, it was to knock down the power shot targets once again. And it could just move the precise amount and launch better than a human could. So that was probably one of the best features we had on our robot this year.
That's definitely really cool. Like the way that you guys are able to code autonomous into teleop features. Uh, and then I have another question, kind of related to that. So when you guys approach your challenge, so you guys mentioned how this year we have the goal and the power shot targets. What do you guys think of first? Do you guys start planning your robot? Do you guys just like brainstorm? What are some of the ways we can address some of the uh, some of the targets? What's your initial brainstorming like?
So when we start a season on a normal year, we'll all go to a school for kickoff. They'll show us the video. There'll be a field built there we can go ask questions about. But this year, it was virtual. So we all watched the stream and then got on a call together and just kind of discussed what we thought of the game and just kind of some initial ideas. But we generally try to save the first day more for game analysis and less about what we're going to do about that. So then, this next time that we met, we start talking about mechanisms and the problems we have to face. So one of the problems, or the main problem I'd say in this game, is to get the rings off the floor and into the target. So how do you do that? So we say we're going to need a collector of some sort to collect it onto our robot, and once it's on our robot, we're going to need it to somehow launch it off our robot. So then we say, okay, we're going to need a collector and a launcher. We're going to want to be able to move those around the field. So we're probably going to want some wheels on there. So we just kind of get a list of things we want to have a robot do, the features we'd like, and then we go about actually talking about designs. So do we want our launcher to flick it like an arm or something, like throw it, or should it use a wheel? Or we had a ton of interesting ideas. Someone at the beginning of the season thought that we should just use a treadmill and have it run super fast on our robot. So yeah, we just brainstorm, and then we just start CADing and building, see what's possible, see what isn't possible, and then yeah, we just go into prototype phase and then onto the finished robot many months later.
So
That's great.
yeah, that's definitely great. So like, what are, you guys mentioned something like the treadmill? What's in your opinion like the most absurd or like unique or creative idea out there, even if it necessarily didn't work? But like, what was the most creative or unique idea that you guys found that was proposed?
Yeah, Ollie, do you want to answer this one?
There were lots of crazy in my head right now. I was thinking of a video I saw a couple days ago that wasn't our robot, but a different robot that had like a bunch of pieces of black something that they just held out in front of them and just spun really fast to collect the rings. That was, I don't know, that was really crazy. Ideas that we had, Guinness had a pancake flipper collector idea where it would like go down, grab the thing, just put it up in our ring holder. That was pretty
I mean,
wacky. I don't think.
you can always have fun with it. So like,
Yeah, yeah,
who cares if it's like a waffle iron or a
yeah,
pancake
for
flipper?
sure.
Like,
Yeah, one of the really cool ideas I saw this year was like, there was a corkscrew. The team wasn't able to do it, but like that was a really cool one that I saw as well. That like it's just spin it and then flinged at just the right velocity.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah.
think one of the most interesting ideas we had on our robot was probably our wobble goal arm, which we never used, unfortunately, or our ramp, or our kind of like intermediate device. So basically, we had to get the rings from the collector to our launcher, and we didn't know how to do that, so we devised a plan to use a ramp, and use the timing belt to move the ring up and down the ramp. So I don't know if that's really unique. I don't, but I thought it was a pretty interesting idea. Um, and for our wobble goal arm, we actually 3D printed a little grabber for it. So that was pretty fun. Yeah.
If you would look at our robot, it would be pretty obvious. But I know a lot of teams used wheels and not what we did. We used zip ties to collect the rings. So we were like messing with that all season, trying to find different ways for it to work better. Different types of zip ties, different types of attaching them. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of times they just broke, snapped off. We tried like super gluing them. That seemed to make them break more. We ended up going for like a square, like I think it's called 80/20 extruded aluminum. I don't know. We just called it a churro. But that was like square, so when you put the zip ties around it, they wouldn't like slip. And we ended up putting them all in a line also. So yeah, it was kind of wacky. I know it seemed like logical thought process to us at a time. It's like you can use a wheel or you can use zip ties. We don't have any other ideas. And then as we like go through all the judging and all the virtual pits where people have actually finished their robot, we're like, oh, not very many people use zip ties. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So ties have more applications than one, definitely. Okay, Lexi, did you have any more questions?
I just have one more.
All right.
What, like, besides your game nights and stuff, how do you guys what are your team bonding ideas, or what do you guys do in order to keep touch with each other? Because I know, like, talking about a robot might not be the best way to team bond half the time, and you guys have you guys have a fairly smaller team, so it's like what do you guys do to bond with the people? Since I know incoming freshmen or like the new team members are, it's a lot harder since they don't know you and they've not seen you in person. So like, what do you guys do in person, like, to keep that?
Yeah. Wait. Henry, is it fine if I take this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So basically, what we did at the beginning of the year, we did a little bit of a team bonding exercise. We just played an online game called Quiplash together. So that was a bit of fun. Basically, throughout the year, as we met in person, we that was basically our team bonding exercise, which was like, wait, our robot doesn't work. Wow. So we all just kind of bonded through our failures. And so that was another interesting experience. Recently, we did another team bonding thing because we're like, we're not doing anything because we're taking a break. So I think we played Quiplash, and then we started playing Minecraft, and then that was about it. So, Henry or Ollie, do you guys have anything to add?
No, that about sums it up.
At least I know, I'll tell you one thing. I think our team has a Minecraft server that like everyone plays on, and like they just talk about gaming half the time on the Discord.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
We have a lot of.
Yeah, no, we stay in touch over Slack. Sorry, go ahead.
You can go.
Oh no, that was basically
Oh.
it.
Yeah, we have a lot of League of Legends players as well, and like every night they end up playing League of Legends together. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay. All right. So I think that wraps up the podcast episode for today. Thank you, Ollie, Guineas, and Henry from Team 6 to 20. And thank you, Tamjeet, for recording the episode. And thank you, Lakshita, for co-hosting with me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you very
thank
much
you
for
guys
having
so
us.
much.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
for having
thanks.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.